Hello and welcome to Farming Simulator 22. In this video I'm going to be showing you AutoDrive that's now available for Farming Simulator 22, a must-have mod, a mod that actually enhances the game so much, with some new features and a pretty cool, I think, unique thing that it can now do, which makes your life a lot easier. So what I'm going to be doing in this video is pretty much showing you where to get it from, so where to download it from, how to start it up and activate it, and then just the basics of how to use it. Later on I will be doing some more videos of how to go a bit more in depth, but in this one we're just going to talk about the basics and show you what to do. So the first thing is I'm going to show you the link where to get it from, which is in the description of this video. So click that link and then I'll meet you on the same page as what that link will bring you to. So if you've clicked the link in the description, it'll bring you to this on GitHub. Basically, GitHub is a good site. It basically does some of the main mods that you'll see on Farming Simulator 22 and also from FS19. A lot of the time on here, they're in like early development stage. But as you can see, this is the latest release, version 2.0. All you need to do is click that link there or click that link there. And that'll basically give you a normal a zip file. And then all you got to do with that zip file is put it into your mod folder. And when that's done, all you need to do then is activate it in-game. So I'll meet you on the page where you normally activate your mods. If you're doing a new save game or you're just carrying on with a current save game, I'll show you exactly what you need to do from there. Right, so I'm on a current save game at the moment, but I will be going over to another one where I've kind of done a little bit of setting up prior to this video. So as you can see, it's AutoDrive is there, version 2.0. You need to make sure that you've activated it by making sure there's a tick and start your game up as you normally would. So when it's ready, obviously jump in and you'll get this message. Now this message is really important. You shouldn't bypass this message. And what it says is AutoDrive network generation. Should AutoDrive generate a route network from the traffic and helper data on the map? Now you need to make sure that you press yes. I highly recommend that you do press yes, because what it's going to do, it'll take a little bit of time, so it might just sit there for a bit. Sometimes it kind of goes not responding. Just leave it to do its thing. Right, so now it's all done. It did take a bit of time, but it kind of just automatically jumped me back into the game. So what it's actually gone and done there is something I think is really clever. So I will just show you on this map because I've got quite a lot going on. This is the map that I did all my tests on for crop, anything with animals or anything like that. So what it's basically done is, prior to you doing your own manual routes on AutoDrives, because the whole purpose of AutoDrive is I can basically record a course in a vehicle, say going from out of here to maybe that gas station there, turning back around and coming back on myself, and it can all be recorded. So if I ever want to do it again, I can just press one button and it'll automatically do it without any of my manual input. That's the whole point of it. So you can do it, sell points, you can sell grain, you can pick up items, you can even have it where it's carting next to you in a field, so it's actually doing the carting as you're harvesting, for example. There is some real good advantages to having an AutoDrive set up on the map you're playing on. But because the way that Farming Simulator 22 has been set up by Giants, it already has a network on the map. Now, one of the cool features that's been added on the map is the fact that you can now set a worker, for example, the AI workers inside the game, what was implemented by Giants, to go to certain locations and do stuff. So there is a network, a mesh kind of network already set up on the map. But let's be honest, we've all had a few problems with it. It isn't as sophisticated as what you want it to be. And also, you can't actually manually adjust it in any way. The good thing about AutoDrive is you can adjust it. You can set it customized. You can tell it to go off track if you wanted to, which I'm going to do in this video and show you a little bit of a cool, hopefully, nice little montage of that. But yeah, it's really customized. It does enhance the gameplay. So what I will just quickly do first is I'll jump into a tractor and I'll show you the basics of it. So we don't need the attachment. Now I'm using an Xbox controller, but I will be talking you through the main controls and the keyboard. So as you can probably already noticed, this here is the AutoDrive menu. So let's just have a quick look at the controls. So I've gone down to controls. You can see all the AutoDrive are here, AD at the start. Now this is the keyboard, main controls. The main one that you're probably going to want to know is how to open the HUD. Now to do that, it's Alt and keypad 0. So that's the main one, because you'll need to get that. Now you can only access that when you're in a vehicle. If you try and do it here, for example, out walking around, it won't work. It's only when you're in a vehicle. So let's say that it isn't up like that and I'm not using my Xbox controller. I'm going to hit Alt, left Alt and 0, and it will bring the menu up. Now everything else can be done with the mouse cursor. So to get the cursor to come up, because right now we're just moving around with the camera, you need to click the middle mouse button and then you'll see your mouse icon or your cursor. Now from there you can then adjust certain stuff. So what I'll first do is just talk to you about the buttons. So this one here and that one is about speed adjustment. I'll go into that in more detail in probably next episodes that I do about AutoDrive, but right now this is just to adjust the speed as maybe a course has already been running. I personally don't use it that much, but it can be useful if you want the vehicle to go slower than you already set it to do. Also, what you'll find is the speed that you drive at a lot of the time, it can record to that as well. This one is settings, which is really useful. You'll be in there, you'll probably be in and out of that quite a lot. This one again is really important. Again, you'll be in and out this one a lot, which is how to edit. So to make your own courses, this is the edit mode. To have it lit up like that, the warning sign means that you're in editing mode, and you can see that now all these nodes, all these network kind of lines have already been drawn in, and these aren't ones that I've already done. This is the beauty of it now. These are all set up because of the ones that are already on the map, which makes it so easy because all you need to do now is connect to them and from them. But I'll show you that in detail in a second. Now, this one here is to loop. So say I'm telling this driver here, and he's got a trailer on the back, that I want to go and sell 5 full trailer loads of grain that's sitting in my silo right now to a sell point. You could set it going, and then you could tell it you want to do 5. So you left click the mouse and it'll tell you, right, he's going to do 5 of them. And when you set him going, it'll go to green. That'll say green 5. If you want to bring it back down because you've gone maybe higher than what you initially wanted to do, you just click the right mouse button and it comes back down. This is the park feature where you can set parking points for certain vehicles. Really useful to have, but I will do an actual video on that, a separate video on that, so I'll talk to you about that then. This one here is to continue. So let's say that I've changed the mode here from drive to pick up and deliver, but you just want to cut to the deliver point because you've already got something in your trailer. You can just skip to the next part of the course. Now this one again is important. This is your mode. So you've got drive, which is technically drive from point A to point B. You've got pick up and deliver. So this one here tells you that you want it to pick up from a certain place, you want it to deliver at a certain place, and this is going to pick what you're going to be transporting. So it could be wheat, it could be barley, it could be canola, whatever it is. So that again you'll probably use quite a lot. This one is deliver, which is a bit like what I've just mentioned, but imagine being in a field and you're full of a grain type, but you want it to go and deliver to the silo. You don't need it to pick up anything because it's already got it in the trailer. Deliver is pretty much the option you'll use for that. So this one's load, which is pretty much the exact same thing. Maybe you're telling you want to go to a destination. Maybe you're scooping up manure from a pile that you've got. You want this to wait at a certain point. As soon as it's filled up with manure, it'll then go and unload it at the target location. And this one, well, I will be doing a separate video on, which is the unload combine feature. Now, I think this one is probably one of the best features about AutoDrive. It's the fact that it can sit in a field, wait for you, wait till you get to a certain amount in the harvester, and then it'll come alongside you, unload, and then when it gets to a certain level inside the actual trailer, it will then go and cart it off to the silo, for example. So it's really clever, really useful, and it just simulates having an AI worker or a real life worker on the farm. So next thing what we'll do is, because I think that's the last one, we'll go into settings and just have a quick look at this. So you've got your vehicle settings here, you've got your user settings there. This is just basic settings, non-functional settings. This is for like debugging, and then this is some experimental features. Now a lot of these I'm not going to go through in this episode. I'm just going to go through the ones that I think are probably the best to look at. So the first thing I'd point out is corner speed is important. Now when you set the corner speed, it's not in general, it's set to each vehicle. So I'm in this T7, I think it is right now. I could set the corner speed on that, for example, to 65. But I maybe want the fast track to be higher because it kind of handles better at corners. So it only saves to the specific vehicle that you're in. If I go to the fast track next, it'll still be at 100, which is the default. So keep that in mind. When you do make changes as well in here, you'll see the red tractor icon. And if you make another one, say if I want the unload fill level to be 80%, you can see that it goes red as well. You need to make sure that you hit apply to save the actions before you leave, but it's just showing you what things you are changing just so you're aware. Now avoid fruit is a good one because you obviously don't want it to do crop damage if you've got that on. Automatic refueling is a pretty good one as well. If you've got a destination already set up, a marker on the map where it's in a trigger to fill fuel, then if the tractor that's running a certain course is getting low on fuel, it'll give you a pop-up message saying I'm running low on fuel, and then automatically it'll divert off the course he's on, fill up with fuel, and then carry on where he was going as his original destination, which is really clever, kind of unique as well, but also dead helpful. So in the vehicle settings, I think that's the main one there that you need to look at. If we just quickly press apply, it will close back down. If we go into the settings now, it's back to white, but this has gone down to 65. So in the user settings, I'd say the best one here for you to look at is the line height. Now the line height is the lines that you see, the nodes, the green lines and the yellow and the red nodes, where you want them to sit. You want to sit them on ground level or above the tractor. Now some people like above the tractor, some people like ground level. Me personally, I think it's just all down to preference. I like ground level, but I also do use above the tractor at some point, because it might be a little bit more difficult to see where the dot is that you're trying to adjust, especially if you're right over it. Sometimes I do move my tractor out of the way, and it makes me think if I just had it above my tractor, I wouldn't need to keep moving the tractor out of the way. Now another one I'd say that I'd probably change is show next path. Now when you've got everything set up and you're setting maybe a vehicle to go from one point to another, if you don't want to break the immersion in the game, you need to turn that to off, because what you'll see is a little white arrow, and it'll kind of just tell you the next node that it's going to hit on that route. If you just have it off, then you won't see that next node, or that next waypoint, should I say, where it's looking and telling you where it's going to go. So I'd recommend to have that off. So the main settings, I really don't touch much stuff in here, especially as we start it off. Auto connect is an important one. I always have that set to yes, but I have the auto connect at the end set to no. Now the reason for that is when I'm starting to record my own course, I want it to start recording from the closest node possible to where I am. Now it's easier if it just automatically connects. However, the end one I like to manually do. Now that is the default set anyway, but if you do want to change it, you do have the option there. And driver wage as well is probably important, because if you don't want to pay too much, you can put it down to 0, but if you do want to pay a lot because you may be loaded, you can set it to 1,000. So keep that in mind. You can actually have a set driver wage. So I'd say that they are the main ones in the settings that you need to look at so early on anyway. You don't really need to be changing too much yet until we go a little bit more in depth with the features available in AutoDrive. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to jump over to the other map that I've got, the other save game, where I've actually done a little bit of setting up, and I will talk about what it is that we're going to show off. Right, so welcome back. I'm now on a map where I've just set up a few things just to show off some of the features, the basic features. So the first thing we need to do is we need to learn how to set up a route. Now we're going to be setting up a route that's basically just like a loop. It's from point A to point B, because every single thing that you're going to be doing is going to have a starting destination and a finishing destination. In the purpose of this, where I'm just setting it up and showing you how to do it, I'll just call them point A and point B. But that could be, for example, your silo is point A, and then point B could be a sell point. So I'm using this because I've never actually used this, and it's from Japan, but it is in the game. Now I'm not going to try and pronounce it, because every time I've always tried to pronounce something, I always get it wrong. But it's the Japanese tractor that's blue. So as you can see, I'm in the tractor. If the menu's not up, remember Alt and 0 to bring it up, like that. Now what we want to do is we want to go into editing mode. Every time we're trying to do a route, we need to be in editing mode to record. Now there's some extra buttons that have appeared now from the ones that I showed you before. So this is record. So to start recording a route and then driving, and it'll copy everything that you do, you need to left click on the record button, and you'll see that it gives a red circle and one way. So this is now telling you that you're recording a one-way route. Now you can, for example, stop that and record a two-way route by right clicking on the mouse. Now what that means is a vehicle can go either way along the route that I'm recording. So it could go up and it can go back down. I prefer to do single ones, single one way. The main reason for that is, imagine you're on a map and you're on a main road and you want to record one tractor or one vehicle going one way and then another vehicle coming past it on the other side of the road. Well, you can do that if you record it like that. If you have a one-way route, then there's a chance that them two vehicles are going to meet and hit each other, or at least stop each other from carrying on. So I think it's always better to have a one route direction. If you're on a really small country lane and you can't fit two, then by all means put a two-way just to make things easier for yourself. But best practice would be to set it up so you've got a single line traffic going one direction and another one coming the other direction. That's the best way to do it. So that's what that does. Now the save button is really useful. Every time I save the game naturally, this route that I'm creating will always be on this save game. But let's say I want to save it and call it, let's say we want to call it, just for this reason, we'll call it test. If I can see my keyboard, there we go, test. And let's say I want to save that. So that's now there. Now let's say I start a new save game on Elm Creek. I can open up this here and I can say, right, we want to load test. And it will then automatically have all the routes that you've set up on here, so you don't have to redo it all, which is pretty useful. So the next one is how to set a waypoint, which I'm going to show you. This one here is deleting waypoints, but there is a way of doing that manually as well, which I'll show you. But this will basically delete the closest point. So if you can tell right now, there is a red line. It's probably better if I reverse a little bit. And you can see that even though I'm recording right now, so I'll stop that, there's always going to be a red little tiny dot above your tractor, and it will always point to the nearest waypoint or the nearest point that you are. Now if I start recording again, it will connect to that. That's when that automatic connects feature that I showed you in the settings, that's where that comes into effect. But the red line is showing where it's going to connect from. Now if I delete, I can press that and it will delete it every time. Delete it. So all it ever does is delete from the nearest point. This one here modifies a waypoint that you're close to. So say I've already got a waypoint down and I want to change the name of it, you can just click that and you can change it. And that's pretty much all that. So we're in editing mode and we want to start this route. So let's just do a normal route by driving. So I'm going to left click the record button. You can see that it's above my head right now. And I'm going to just start driving. And you can see that these points are now taken on the map. And there's a nice little new feature now where you get that sound effect of them clicking in place. If you can just make it out. Now the good thing about this map, it's already got on here some routes, like I said. Now weirdly it's got these points, so what I'm going to quickly do now is show you how to connect. So with it already being there's no point in me driving over again. I may as well connect to it. So if you might need to do this on a corner, for example, maybe you've got the main highway set up and you want to branch off it to a sell point. This is how you can connect from and to a point. So if I just stop recording now, and now nothing's happening, the tractor's just sitting there, and then if you highlight over a point, it'll turn blue, and it shows you the pink that's next to it, yellow that's next to it as well. But if you always want the blue one, so if I click that now with the left mouse button, it'll turn to green. And then if I click where I want it to connect into, it'll also connect and link together. Now there is a little arrow there, I don't know if you can just make it out. There's an arrow telling you the direction. Now we're going from that point to that point, hence why the arrow is facing that way. If I wanted to make this a two-way line, like I showed you over here to do whilst driving, you can click this way, and now it's two-way because it's blue. So that's what the blue indicates, that it's not just one direction, it's two directions. So if I wanted to remove that and change that so I didn't have it like that, I'd then click back and it would then go back to the one direction. If I wanted that to disappear as well, I could also click that and it'd go to two direction again, and then back on myself, and it's now direction this going this way. Let's say for example I wanted to delete that manually without pressing this button here, this one down here. Now what you can do is hold left alt and left click and it'll delete a point out. So that's how to manually do it in on the keyboard with the mouse. Now if I wanted to put it back in manually without actually driving, you can hold left control and hit the left mouse button and you can see that it's here. Now obviously that isn't in the right place, because I mean if you wanted it to be in the right place, you need to, I find it's easier to do this manually when you've got it set to the ground level, because it kind of distorts where it's going to be. I mean that looks there like it's over there, but actually it's down here. So keep that in mind. I always think it's easier to do when it's on ground level because of that reason. But it is where it is. So what we can do though is move it. So all we have to do to move it though is hold the right mouse button and then just put it into place and let go when you're happy. And then what we can do is click, oh, don't want to do that. There we go. What I can do is click this one to that one and then that one to this one. And I don't like how that's just a little bit thing. I'm going to straighten it back up, so I'm holding the left mouse button and I'm bringing it into place, and it's as simple as that. So we've now connected back to it. We've made sure that we can manually put stuff in, delete stuff out. So again, like I said to you, you can manually put stuff in. I'll quickly just do that again just to make it clear. So what I'm going to do now is just quickly show you another way of connecting to it by using the manual. But what I'm going to do to make life easier is I'm going to set the line height to ground level and press apply. Now when you do that, everything disappears. Don't worry, it's not deleted, it's just taking us back out of editing mode. So we just need to go back in, and as you can see, it's now on the ground, so it's not as intrusive. I think it takes up less visual space when it's like that, and I prefer it. And also when you're putting your points down, it's a lot easier because you can just click the ground and it will go directly where you want it. What I'm going to do now is put some points in. So I'm going to hold left control, I'm going to point in there and there, and you'll see that they automatically link together. And then I'm going to put that one in and that one in. Now you could do little ones if you wanted to be really precise, but I'm happy with that there. And then what we need to do now is link this together. So the tractor with where it is, I need to just move it out of the way. And this is why maybe it is a problem when it comes to ground level. Sometimes you cover it up with the tractor, but it makes it a little bit difficult. So I think the best way is connecting it to there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just bring this here a little bit further out like that and try and smooth these out, these edges. I think no, I didn't want to do that. There we go. I think that one there needs smoothing out. I think that's perfect. So now imagine if there was a track coming around the barn, I could connect it back up just like that. So hopefully that makes sense. If you've got any questions and you're not sure exactly what I'm talking about, put it in the comment section and I'll try my best to help you out. So we've connected to that point that was just on the stream there. Now we need to reconnect back to it. Now, like I said to you, it's set up in the settings where it will automatically connect to the closest point by default. And as you can see, the red little dot and the line is pointing to this. It's telling us that that's the closest waypoint in our tractor. So what we need to do is press record and it will start recording again. Now, let's say that around here is a perfect spot for a point. So what I'm going to do now is I've got to a point that I'm happy with. I'm going to put a location in because we need locations. Without them, we wouldn't have anywhere to drive to. We could have all the network set up, but if you haven't got locations, then it's pretty pointless because you've not got a destination to go to. So we need to make sure we set locations on the way. So I'm going to imagine this is point A. This could be like a silo, for example, but if we just put in A after clicking this button here, that didn't work for some reason, but let's just call it AAA, I guess, or there you go, that worked. I think it was just too short. So you can see that now there's a location sign, and all we need to do is carry on driving. And then what I'm going to do is just do a bit of a loop around. In this Japanese tractor. And we'll go back to where we started. And as you can see, some of this route here is set up from what was already on the map. I don't want to connect to that this time. I'm just going to go around the fields. There we go. And around here. Over the bridge. And then back to the start. So what I need to do now, kind of line it up the best you can. Stop recording. And then we want to connect them. And there we go. That's our loop, or that's our little route that we've done, set up perfectly. So this one here, where this red line's pointing to now, I'm going to set as point B. So I'm going to click this icon. I'm going to set this as 3Bs, job done. Right, so let's just say I've got this tractor, just jumped in, and I want it to go to the A point that I've just set. Now, if I set it going from here, which is perfectly acceptable, but the problem is there's a building here and it might hit it. So what I'd recommend doing sometimes, this isn't sometimes the best thing to do all the time, but it can be advantage if you've obviously got a big building like that and it's easy to see. However, I've found sometimes it kind of can be a bit temperamental. If you've got a hill, for example, it might see that hill as something that you're going to hit before you start going up the hill, if that makes sense. So just change it to yes, collision detection as yes, and then if I set the waypoint here to B, well 3 Bs, B, and drive, we have to hit the on button and it'll go, and now it shouldn't hit the actual building because it knows that it's a destination. And as you can see, it started off at B, so now we want to tell it, right, we want to get you to A. So now it should follow the exact route and take us all the way to A. Now the cornering speed, again, might be a little bit high depending on what vehicle you've got. Just make sure you manually adjust that to your liking. If you've got a big trailer and maybe a lot of bales on the back, I would recommend putting the cornering speed down because it can tip over, and yeah, it can cause a little bit of problem. So it's already reached A, it wasn't too far of a distance. I do like that little chime now that it gives you, saying that it's at the location as well. So we'll change it to B and we'll let him go around on the route. And that bit there isn't connected, so I haven't actually missed a connection there somehow. I don't know how I did that, maybe when I was deleting things out. But it did jump from one to the next. It didn't say, oh sorry, this is not connected together. It noticed the next point and went to it. Right, so I'm in the tractor. It's doing its thing. It's going crazy, bombing around in this tiny little Japanese thing. It's even in Japanese writing on there. I don't know how anyone would read that unless you're Japanese. I mean, I'd love to learn Japanese because it looks completely, really difficult to learn. Anyway, I'm digressing off topic. I'm obsessed with this Japanese tractor now. Right, so as you saw, it did its job. It got to the location, both locations, and it's as simple as that. So you could change modes, which I will show you a bit more in detail in other videos, but also a few in this video as well. But you could change modes, and you could have it just to drive or to unload, pick up, deliver, sell items, whatever it may be. You've now set up your first route, and you can take that going forward to setting up multiple routes to multiple sell points, multiple locations, and eventually what you'll find is you've got a really unique custom map that's got its own AutoDrive network on. And let's be honest, it's a lot more sophisticated than what's already implemented by Giants. Even though it was a good step in the right direction, it's still not as good as what AutoDrive is. Right, so right now we've got two things that I'm going to show you. First thing I'm going to show you is this. I'm going to just show you a route that I made up just to go to the gas station over here from the farm. So I've got gas station, view, the farm, grain mill, the two that we just created in here. Now, I want it to go to the gas station. Now, it's full on fuel, unfortunately, so it won't fill up. But if it wasn't full on fuel, it would fill up. But I'm just going to show you now what it looks like without anything, without in the editing menu. So just showing you how good it looks on doing it on its own. So we'll run across, we'll watch him dive across the road. Where's crows coming from? Sleeping in my grain. So now he's getting to the junction. He's going to make a turn. I have turned traffic off as well, just because it does make things a little bit easier. Now, if you ever wondered how to make montage videos look really good, this is pretty much the trick you need. Have AutoDrive. So now I'll come in, because I've set it up. There's the waypoints around here for the gas station. You'll see a little notification pop up saying, I'm here, I've done it. And yeah, that's it, job done. There we go. The guy just vanishes magically. And it's still rolling. Job done. Now, if you want to change them messages that appear, now you can change that so you don't want to break the immersion even more. Go to settings, and if you go to user settings, you can see that notifications is on short. You can have it to default or long, extra long, or endless. So, I mean, it does tell you what the different options are. If I just quickly click that to there, you can see the display time for notification, no display, 2.5 seconds, show until the user closes, all the way up to that. So if you did want it disabled, you wouldn't get that menu pop up, that little notification pop up. If you want it on short, it only stays up for a small time, just to let you know, but then it'll go out the way. I probably like that set, but depending on what map I'm on. Sometimes if I'm doing my series and I'm recording, I don't want that to pop up. However, if it's just a normal save game and I've got a lot going on, I'm actually managing the farm using Course Play, using AutoDrive, then I kind of want a little bit more information, might want it to stay up a little bit longer. but it is an option, which again is pretty useful to have. So now let's move over here. I've got a Massey, I think it's the 6818. It's got a trailer on filled with barley. Now I'm going to show you some features here in regards to the silo and unloading. So let's say that I was parked up in the field. This is the field, and I want to go drop this grain off to the silo. So I'm going to go and change this now to deliver. Now it already knows that it's obviously got something in. We don't have to tell it what it is, but we do need to go and deliver it to our farm silo. And all we have to do is press go. Nice little feature as well. It does tell you how long it should take depending on the speed that it's travelling at. If it slows down, you'll notice that that goes up. If it gets quicker, then it obviously goes down as well. Not a very good place to park a header trailer. So I can tell by the way that it stopped, it's already noticed the trigger. It automatically detects it. So now what it's going to do is it's going to go over the silo, and when it gets to that tip trigger, it will automatically... Right, so there you go. You can see that the grain's coming out of the trailer automatically on its own. We're not doing an absolute thing. We're just sitting in here. And then when it's done, it'll drop the trailer down. And it'll say, yeah, I've done what you've asked. Get a little notification. It'll be job done. Now, like I said, I will show you this in detail of how to set this up. There is certain ways and certain tricks you can do it where you don't have issues. If you don't set the waypoint in front, I'll tell you now, if you don't set the waypoint in front very well, then you won't hit the trigger with the trailer on the back. Because you've got to remember there is a bit of a delay from when the tractor gets there to when the actual trailer gets there, and that's where the tip trigger is going to be activated from. So the next one that I've set up is going to be a little bit of a challenge, and hopefully it'll look pretty cool. Now, a lot of the routes on the main road, if I show you on the map, are already generated from what I said at the start of the video. Now, this is all the main roads around here. So there's a sell point up here that I've set up called Grain Mill. Now, it could follow the main route all the way up to there, and it is viable. But what I'm going to do, because I've gone and manually adjusted some of the route up from that point there to follow a bit off-road, get all the way around here to a nice little view there, and then come back down this way, I'm going to show you that you can actually make it look pretty good. And if you do combine the features of having waypoints and the routes already set up from generated at the start, you can then add to them and then obviously make it look a little bit better and even more efficient by taking these little shortcuts. Now, I'll be honest, some of this route up here, you would never go up there anyway with a trailer, but we're going to give it a go anyway because I think it'll look pretty cool. Fingers crossed it works though, because I haven't tried it with the trailer on. So what I need to do first is, because we're going to go sell some grain, I need to tell it that I want to pick up from the silo because we dumped all the grain back in there. So I'm going to pick it up from the farm silo. This is the pick up and deliver. That's the one we want. Pick up and deliver from the farm silo. We're going to go to the view because that's the one that I'm sending it to. Now, normally you'd probably send that to the grain mill, but we're just going to go for a little bit of a detour on the way. But we want to tell it that we're picking up some barley. It's figured out where it's got to go, so we've set it going. It's now going to turn around and get to the nearest waypoint, which will be over there. It makes me worry that I might not make the corners up there, but we'll see. Fingers crossed. I've picked the right trailer. And there we go. So it's automatically filling up now. And if I pick up this now, you'll see that what happened then was this went to green. So before this was in green, it was indicating that what it was doing is going to the farm silo. As soon as that was completed, it then moved on to this. Now it's heading to the view. Now it's gone to green, saying that that's the destination it's going, and it's going to dump off the barley. So this is a bit of a drive. So I think the best thing to do right now is cue the montage. Right, so as you can tell, this is one stunning view on Elm Creek at the top here. Now, any minute from now, the tractor should appear and come pick me up. And here he is. So he's found his way up to the view, like I set up. And as soon as he's here, we'll see that notification saying, I did it, I'm here. And there we go. But unfortunately for him, he's trying to unload, but there is no trigger. So what we need to do now is jump back in. And then we need to tell it that actually we made a mistake and we want to go to the grain mill. There we go. So I've set it going. It's going to the grain mill. Now I want to watch this down here because this is going to be really tricky. In fact, what I should probably do quickly is reduce the cornering speed to 50 because of the fact that there is a barrier down here, and yeah, it's not made for vehicles, let's be honest. It looks like it is, but the barrier, even though it looks like it can swing open, is solid as a rock. So what I decided to do was go round. Now I'll be amazed if he does this. He just about clipped it, but he got through it in the end, so not too shabby. I think it helped reducing the cornering speed. And as you can see, it's taking his time and being very cautious. So what we could probably do now is pump up that cornering speed again to about 75. And there you go. He's now driving a little bit more happy, a little bit more confidence in him. And he's not too far away now from the sell point. So what I'll do is I'll jump over to the sell point and I'll cut back in when we're there, and we'll watch him sell the grain. Oh, there's a ladder here. There we go, on top of the grain silo. I wonder if there's one of them collectibles up here. It seems like there should be. So as you can see, the tractor there is on his way. This is the grain silo. The sell point is just behind all these big silos over here. So what we best do is jump down, not get stuck, and you'll see him maneuver over the sell point. The money should start going up, even though I've actually got quite a lot of money, so you won't see that. So what I should do is probably jump into this, and you'll be able to see the grain starting to go down. There you go, he's hit the trigger. He's now obviously unloading the barley into the sell point. Money you can't see going up, but we will get a notification at the end of how much money we earned. There you go, so we earned £9,000 from doing that. We didn't have to do any of it. It was all automated by this unique driver, and yeah, he did a good job. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Hopefully you've come to realise that AutoDrive is a brilliant mod that really does enhance the gameplay on FS22, just like it did on FS19. So keep an eye out for some more videos coming, showing even more features, going into the next stages of the tutorial on how to use it. So keep an eye out for that. But if you have enjoyed it, please give the video a thumbs up, because that really does help me out. And if you're new, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more videos just like this one on Farming Simulator.